Today we have an extremely impactful and transformative story to share with you. We will hear the account of Daniel, an anesthesiologist trained at the University of Campinas, who had two near-death experiences that completely changed his perspective on life. Now let's hear about Daniel's experience. I am Daniel, an anesthesiologist, trained and with residency from the University of Campinas in Brazil. On December 14, 2011, my life changed drastically. I woke up that morning feeling a bit strange, but I ignored the signs and continued with my routine. However, as the day progressed, I began to feel an intense pain and a weakness that I had never experienced before. Soon, I realized that something was seriously wrong. I tried to call for help, but my words came out garbled. Before I could fully comprehend what was happening, I passed out. I was rushed to the hospital, where doctors confirmed that I had suffered a stroke in the brainstem, specifically in the basilar artery, which had become obstructed. I was put into an induced coma and spent 6 days in the ICU. During that time, my mind wandered in a space I couldn't understand. It was then that I had my first near-death experience. While in the ICU, something extraordinary happened. I saw an intense white light through a portal that opened in front of me, like a lamp being turned on in the middle of the darkness. The light was incredibly bright and at the same time welcoming. I had the option to pass through that portal or not. I clearly remember being in doubt, wondering if I should go through that passage. In the end, I decided not to cross. The portal closed immediately, and I was engulfed again by darkness. There was no verbal communication or invitation. It was just an intuitive feeling that it was a portal to pass through, but the final decision was mine. When I finally woke up from the coma, I was confused and disoriented. I couldn't speak or walk. My family and friends told me that I had been in a coma for 6 days. During that time, they were extremely worried and prayed for my recovery. Although they were relieved to see me awake, I still had a long road to recovery ahead of me. I spent 2 weeks in the hospital after waking from the coma, but curiously, I don't remember anything from that period. Visits from family and friends are a blur in my memory. They told me that I talked to them, but I have no recollection of those moments. My mind was focused on trying to understand what had happened to me during those 6 days in the ICU. A month after the stroke, I had a second experience that changed my perspective on life forever. I was at home, in the living room, trying to get back to my normal routine. I was moving from the couch to the computer when, suddenly, I felt an immediate transformation. Standing, fully conscious and without any medication, I felt myself turn into a ball of energy. The transition was instantaneous. There was no gradual change. One moment I was a man of flesh and bone, and the next I was a ball of pure energy. Along with me, there was another ball of energy, which I believed to be my guardian angel. We communicated telepathically. We floated over a landscape that looked like Manhattan, with old skyscrapers covered in lush vegetation. There were no signs of human life. The city was completely deserted. However, the feeling I had was the best I've ever experienced in my life. It was a sensation of absolute well-being, of total detachment from everything I knew. There was no pain, suffering, or worry, just a deep and indescribable peace. As we floated, I realized that the other energy was guiding me. It didn't speak, but I could understand its intentions and feelings. We flew over the deserted city, seeing old skyscrapers and vegetation growing everywhere. It was as if nature had reclaimed its space, covering everything in vibrant green. The landscape was both beautiful and melancholic, a reminder of what humanity had built and then abandoned. Suddenly, the experience changed. I was taken to a completely different place, where the sensation was one of intense desolation and depression. There were no moans, fire, or any other images of suffering that we normally associate with bad places. However, the sensation was overwhelming. It was a feeling of absolute emptiness, of deep despair. I wanted to get out of there as quickly as possible. This change was instantaneous, as if someone had flipped a switch. On the good side of the experience, The communication was telepathic. I knew there were other energies around me, but I couldn't see or hear them clearly. However, on the bad side, the feeling of loneliness was even more intense. I knew there were other presences there, but I couldn't see or interact with them. It was a feeling of total isolation, of being completely alone in a vast space of desolation. When I finally returned to my body, the transition was equally abrupt. I felt the weight of my physical body again, the pain and discomfort returning instantly. It was as if I was being pulled back into a dense and painful reality. I remember smelling the hospital, a mix of antiseptic and something else indefinable, which brought me back to the harsh reality. After this experience, I began to reflect deeply on what had happened. The first experience, seeing the light in the portal, seemed trivial compared to the second. The second experience was much deeper and transformative. It showed me the importance of detachment, not just from material things, but also from human relationships. The feeling of well-being and freedom I experienced on the good side was something I had never felt before. It was a feeling of total detachment, a liberation from the earthly bonds that held me back. I realized that the message being conveyed to me was clear. Living in love is what truly matters. Money, power, fame, and other material things have no real value. What truly matters are the feelings, genuine connections, and love we share with others. This experience showed me that life on earth is fleeting, a momentary breath in the grand scheme of things. I started to share my story so that others could understand what I had experienced. It wasn't just a matter of faith because I had seen and experienced the reality of the spiritual realm. I believe my experience can help others reflect on what really matters in life and seek a path of love and detachment. Since then, I have lived with this new perspective. I try to share my experience whenever possible, hoping it reaches and inspires others. I believe we are placed on earth to learn and grow, and that love is the path to achieving true happiness and freedom. My near-death experience showed me that there is more to life than what we see and touch. There is a spiritual realm waiting for us, where the true essence of love and detachment can be found. I hope my story reaches many people and helps them reflect on what truly matters in life. Live in love, detach from material things and earthly relationships, and you will find the true freedom and happiness we all seek.